Welcome back to the Stonk Emporium Cockpit Control Center. This is the CCC Confluence Watchlist for Friday, August 28, 2026. Thursday produced exceptional radar activity and some aggressive after-hours moves, but activity alone does not earn a place on Friday's confirmation board. Tonight's theme is simple. Participation got our attention. Structure, liquidity, and live confirmation decide what survives the opening bell. The Thursday evening capture recorded 1,941 alert events across 224 unique tickers. EPOW, FAMI, BRNX, and NCPL dominated the combined radar picture. EPOW led with 151 appearances. FAMI had 81. BRNX had 80, and NCPL had 76. Those numbers describe participation, not probability. EPOW finished in conflict. FAMI was pulling back. BRNX remained avoid or wait, while NCPL finished with the strongest intersection of frequency, alerts, after-hours confirmation, and constructive setup readiness. NCPL is Friday's lead confirmation watch. The technical snapshot was 66.7 cents, and the final after-hours board printed 69 cents, above the captured 68.27 cent trigger. That means the setup is no longer a blind breakout entry. Friday requires a sustained hold above 68.27 cents, or a clean reclaim after a controlled test, with real participation behind it. The captured invalidation is 64.78 cents, with 73.91 and 75 cents marking the upside path. 76 combined radar appearances, 45 alerts, and more than 104 million shares of Thursday volume support the watch, but the very small market capitalization makes extension, spread, liquidity, dilution, and halt risk central to the plan. A vertical pre-market gap is not confirmation. It is a reason to slow down. RYET is the tight decision zone continuation watch. The captured reference was $1.07.5, with $1.07 as the floor and $1.08 as the trigger. If 107 holds and 108 reclaims on executable quotes, the captured path points toward 110 and 111. 37 momentum radar appearances, 19 alerts, and a 10.4% after-hours move provide context. But a 1 cent model range means nothing if the spread itself is 1 cent or wider. Reject spread-only prints and require an actual change in the book. AEMD has strong confluence and the most severe risk on the primary board. It finished up 46.5% after hours at $3.17, exactly at the captured structural floor. The earlier technical reference was 318.8, readiness was 78%, and the breakout trigger is $3.41. The next modeled levels are 374 and 4094. 29 momentum appearances and 40 alerts keep it prominent, but the captured market capitalization was only about $1.5 million. Friday requires a fresh hold above 317 and a confirmed 341 reclaim with real volume, stable quotes, and enough liquidity to manage risk. Below 317, the captured setup fails. No anticipation below the trigger and no chasing an illiquid spike. MODD and WVVIP round out the primary board. MOD's final after-hours price was $4.13, the same as its captured invalidation floor. Its decision is compact. Hold $4.13 and reclaim $4.18, with $4.24 and $4.35 above. Readiness was 78%, and 13 alerts supported the watch, but radar frequency was light, so Friday participation must expand. WVVIP has a cleaner captured structure without the same after-hours extension. It needs 382 to hold and 398 to break or reclaim before the 423 and 439 path matters. It also finished at 78% readiness with 12 momentum appearances. Both names can improve quickly, but only if live price and liquidity agree with the modeled structure. The secondary confirmation board is INHD, YMT, ZCMD, RITR, and OBAI. INHD carries 78% readiness but needs its choppy 650 to 664 range to resolve. YMT also shows 78% readiness. 301 is the floor and 320 is the confirmation line toward 345 and 392. ZCMD needs 93.73 cents to hold and 97.1 cents to break with stable volume. RITR brought 32 volume radar appearances, but at roughly 9 cents, spread and execution risk outweigh the small model distance to 9.17 cents. OBAI needs the 35-cent floor and 35.64-cent reclaim to work together. These names stay secondary until Friday tape, spread, and liquidity promote them. The volume board is FAMI, LGPS, and OMH, and the lesson is participation does not equal entry. FAMI had 81 combined radar appearances, including 62 from volume radar, but readiness was only 28% and the tape was pulling back. It needs stabilization and a clean 10.94 cent reclaim while 10.72 cents holds. LGPS had 27 momentum appearances and 60 alerts with boosted after-hours evidence, but it also finished at 28% readiness with pulling back tape. Its decision line is 129 and 119 is the captured invalidation. OMH was technically only 1/10,000th below its 7.93 cent trigger, but that closeness is misleading at a sub-8 cent price. Quote size, spread, and real liquidity matter far more than the model distance. High participation earns screen time. It does not earn an automatic entry. EPOW is the clearest example of why frequency cannot govern the watch list. It ranked first with 151 combined radar appearances and finished up 43.3% after hours. But the final verdict was no trade, conflict, at 28% readiness with pulling back tape. The captured reference was 65.4 cents, while the required reclaim was much higher at 83.39 cents. 60.3 cents was the structural invalidation. EPOW needs a full reset and a new base. The biggest activity on the board was not the cleanest Friday setup. BRNX ranked third in combined frequency with 80 appearances, yet its final verdict was avoid or wait at 35% readiness. The captured reference was 354.9, the reclaim was 407, and 326 was the invalidation. BRNX also experienced a Thursday LULD pause. That history, the wide trigger distance, and the final verdict all argue for entirely fresh Friday structure before considering the 407 line. ESTC and GAP are earnings reaction ranges, not immediate breakout calls. ESTC finished up 19.4% after hours around $100, but its captured trigger was $117.45, far above the evening reference. The final verdict was conflict at 28% readiness. GAP gained 14.8% after hours near 2387 and carried 78% readiness, but its captured trigger was 2714. For both names, Friday must build a fresh reaction range. Do not force Thursday evening model levels onto a materially different pre-market tape. CELU and SOAR remain reset-only names. CELU had 90 alerts but finished no trade at 28% readiness with pulling back tape. A 190 reclaim matters only after stabilization, with 170 as the captured invalidation. SOAR had 8 combined radar hits and 49 alerts, but the final verdict was no trade, conflict. Alerts and volume do not override the governing verdict. The final after-hours leaders were AEMD up 46.5%, EPOW up 43.3%, NCPL up 28.1%, ESTC up 19.4%, and GAP up 14.8%. MODD followed at 14.4%. One useful warning sits farther down the board. BioOB showed an 11.8% move on only 8 captured shares. Percentage movement without meaningful volume can create a dramatic headline and almost no executable opportunity. Structure and liquidity still decide what belongs on the plan. The final 5-minute board was led by GRAN, XAIR, SJ, PTN, and IMC. GRAN and XAIR were both up more than 16% in that window, but no completed Friday trade plans were captured for these names. Treat the board as late tape context only. It can identify where activity finished, not supply missing entries, stops, or targets. Friday's earnings calendar contains 7 pre-market reports. Options implied the largest captured expected moves in NA at 29.6% and JFIN at 22%. MNSO was 10.8, HAFN 9.9, and FRO 8.2. BWLP and CHA had no captured expected move figure. These are event watches only because no complete CCC trade plans were captured for any of the 7. Expected move describes magnitude, not direction. Wait for the reports, post-release price discovery, live liquidity, and fresh structure before discussing execution. The opening decision window also carries scheduled macro risk. Chicago PMI is due at 9:45 Eastern, with a forecast of 57.9 and a previous reading of 57.6. The University of Michigan Final Consumer Survey follows at 10 o'clock, with a forecast of 51 and a previous reading of 55.2. A beat or miss by itself is not the full signal. Watch how index prices, treasury yields, the dollar, volatility, market breadth, and sector leadership interpret the release before assuming a small cap move is isolated from the broader tape. 2 IPO listings were pending for Friday. SGLD on NASDAQ and DHGR on the New York Stock Exchange. Neither had a published price range in the captured calendar, so no range or trade plan belongs on screen. Halt risk also deserves respect. BRNX, GRAN, and XAIR appeared in Thursday LULD activity. That does not predict another halt, but it does reinforce the need for controlled size, executable liquidity, and a defined exit plan. Here is the Friday opening hierarchy. Start with news, filings, dilution, split status, halts, pre-market volume, and spreads. Remove any setup already below its captured invalidation. NCPL leads only on a sustained 68.27 cent hold or clean reclaim. RYET needs 107 to hold and 108 to reclaim on real quotes. AEMD must first hold 317 before the 341 trigger matters. Let MODD resolve 413 to 418 and require WVVIP to hold 382 before 398. Keep INHD, YMT, ZCMD, RITR, and OBAI on the secondary screen. Use FAMI, LGPS, and OMH as participation watches, not automatic entries. EPOW, BRNX, ESTC, GAP, CELU, and SOAR stay in reset or fresh range status. Finally, respect the 9:45 and 10 o'clock data windows. Friday's board is a hierarchy of conditions, not a list of promises. That is the Stonk Emporium CCC Confluence watch list for Friday, August 28th. Thursday gave us the movement. Friday still has to give us the hold, the reclaim, and the confirmation. This video is for research and educational purposes only. It is not financial advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any security. All levels are Thursday evening references and can change or fail before the open. Verify current price, news, filings, liquidity, spread, volume, and halts. Define your own risk and never trade money you cannot afford to lose. Scan it, confirm it, trade it, journal it, enhance it.